Movies. Everything you see and hear was done on purpose. Everything has meaning. Join Corey Heitschmidt, Justin Eldon, and me, Craig Dickinson, for Reading Between the Reels. Each episode will break down the movies you love and analyze cinematography, sound, performance, and set design to uncover the significance of the filmmaker's choices. Reading Between the Reels, available wherever you listen to podcasts.
I'm Bo Maddox.
I'm Ashley Chancellor.
I'm Robbie Sherman.
And this is Collateral Cinema Adult Swim Edition. Welcome to a special Adult Swim edition of Collateral Cinema, the only movie podcast that matters, where we focus on good movies, bad movies, and everything else in between in the world of cinema. We're podcasting straight from somewhere in South Texas, and yes, my friends, we are a 420-friendly podcast. So whatever you have, be it dabs, blunts, bongs, or joints, smoke it if you've got it. And yes, like I said, this is a special Adult Swim edition of Collateral Cinema. And this is where we dive into what I think is quite possibly one of the better blocks of television to have come out in the last 20 some odd years. And we're taking a look at one of its earlier shows as we did before, right, Ash?
Yeah, so we did season 1 of Home Movies. And so now we are getting into season 2. And I'm excited. I've been watching these episodes pretty much back to back and just vibing with them.
Oh, same here. Yeah, they're extremely bingeable. And just like last time, we have a guest host with us. We have Mr. Robbie Sherman from the podcast Conversations with Robbie Sherman. How are you doing, Robbie?
I'm great. Happy to be on the old Collateral Cinema.
Oh, yeah.
I hope you're happy to have me.
Oh, yes, we are definitely happy to have you here. Definitely. So we'll go ahead and let you tell our listeners about your show, about what you do there and all that good stuff. So go ahead. Tell our listeners about yourself.
Yeah. Hi, Robbie Sherman of Conversations with Robbie Sherman. I have a nice little niche pop culture podcast. I try to stay away from things that are like absurdly popular, but I can get away with some more mainstream stuff here and there too, but a lot of it's focused on movies and animation.
Excellent.
Please, I hope you'll check me out. Yeah, if you need something to listen to. We have a ton of great guests coming up. I was just on the Sonic Cinema podcast the other day, and that came out, and we did the 2 Lupin specials, completing a trilogy I started on an earlier episode.
Oh, man, I love me some Lupin the Third, man. Hell yeah. I love that anime.
Yeah, it ties in well with our Adult Swim coverage,
It does, yeah. Yeah, Lupin the Third was an early Adult Swim anime. Back before they really brought back the Toonami brand and everything, they still did anime, and they would show stuff like Lupin the Third and Yu Yu Hakusho and also, Detective Conan and whatnot. It was called Case Closed here, of course. But
yeah.
But yeah.
Well, we are excited to have a conversation with Robbie Sherman today on Home Movies Season 2.
Yes, definitely.
Jolly Jeepers.
Golly Jeepers, ain't it great? Fenton Muley's turning 8. Eat some ice cream, eat some cake. Jeepers Jolly, ain't it great? I think that's what that was. Yeah, that of course is from the episode Fenton's Birthday. And
you know what? I want to raise a hot topic real quick while we're on this subject. Fenton, he is correct. A camera would be an actual gift instead of a mean-spirited, shitty video.
You're not wrong there. You're not wrong, man. I mean,
I'm not saying he deserves a real gift, but it would be a real gift.
You're not wrong, man. I mean, didn't Jason give him like an eraser that was shaped like a football or something?
It's dual purpose because, like anything else, you could throw it around.
Yeah, like a CD.
Exactly.
You know, like if Melissa got him a CD, he could throw it around.
Well, in our first episode where we reviewed season 2, we kind of went into what season 1 was really about, which it was more of a more of like an experiment than anything. You know, it was
especially the first few episodes.
Yeah, especially the first 5 episodes, the original UPN run, like
when they were doing the squiggle vision. Yeah,
they were still doing the squiggle vision. They were retroscripting their episodes and kind of structuring the actual narrative around that, but in this season, we don't have that. I mean, in all actuality, when it comes to jumps in quality between seasons, like this has one of the best jumps in quality of any Adult Swim show. Period. There's maybe a few shows that actually kind of did that quality jump. Like I would say, like the between season 1 and 2, Adventure Brothers is a good example.
Oh my word! The jump in that show is a miracle, and even then, at least the good first half of season 1 is pretty damn salvageable.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I actually really like season 1 of Venture Brothers. It's got a nice little gritty quality to it that feels like the old school Hanna-Barbera, Johnny Quest cartoons and everything.
Those big chin Dr. and Mrs. the Monarchs are like crazy. Like
yes.
I never forget those. They always stand out in my head. I love them when they pop up in season 1.
Yeah, no, those guys are hilarious, man. They're hilarious. And but yeah, I mean, for one, they dropped the squiggle vision in season 2, and I like to think that is quite possibly the defining feature of this show, of this particular season, that really made it endear itself to people. But because beforehand with the squiggle vision, it felt like they couldn't really animate. They couldn't really show off the animation all that well. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the squiggle vision. Like, it makes me physically sick to watch.
Really?
I can see that. Yeah.
I liked it. I mean, I thought it was unique, but there is a noticeable jump in quality in this season, not just in the animation style, but I think the writing. I mean, like you mentioned, Bo, they're not doing retroscripting anymore. And to its, credit, that did kind of give some of those early episodes a unique feel, but I do feel like the characters are a little bit better developed here. The stories are just a little bit higher quality.
Yeah. A little tighter and everything.
Tighter. Yeah.
Let's go into the actual writing first off. Like we said, the original home movies run, season 1, like we said, a lot of it was retroscripted. A lot of it was very off the cuff, as they recorded their lines and everything. And it also, I've heard it kind of likened to like an animated podcast, kind of. It kind of has that feel, right? Yeah. That spontaneous podcast quality to it. But here we actually get real character arcs. We actually get the narrative backstories, even the storylines that kind of over-arc throughout the season. Like the two main overarching storylines that we have here is, first of all, Brendon and Cynthia, and that's actually addressed over multiple episodes, which you didn't see in season 1 as much. Season 1, almost all their episodes feel fully self-contained. they don't really give their narratives a whole lot of room to breathe. But here we actually have Brendon meeting a new girl, Cynthia, and actually kind of pining and pursuing that particular person across multiple episodes here. And then the second overarching story that we get is the whole thing between Brendon, his dad, and Linda.
Oh yeah,
which is a massive struggle between these three characters. It's pretty much a power struggle between Brendon and Linda.
You know what's cool about both of these overarching narrative arcs is that they're both very relatable. Like I can relate to both of those. I mean, when Homeboy's just sitting there at the end of that one episode where he's like, I can fix this. Like, this can be fixed. This can be fixed. I'm like, I've been there, man.
Yeah, he's processing it to a point of understandingness, right?
And that, and also, you know, like I come from a family where my parents were divorced and married other people. So like I get it. And my dad married somebody that I didn't think was right for him, that was a horrible person. But it's like, what am I going to do? Tell my dad, you know, when my dad comes up to me and he's like, yeah, I want to marry her. And then, you know, like as a kid, you know, I was probably around Brendon's age or so, you know, like, what am I supposed to say? Like when he asks, are you okay with that? Like, you know that he expects you to say yes. So it's like, you know, like I get that. I get like that being out of your control. And so, you know, both of those story arcs in particular were just very relatable for me.
Now, did you also make like a little video of a like private interaction? And your dad?
No, I wasn't quite that creative. And also, my parents ended up remarrying each other when I was in high school, so that story actually got a better ending.
Everything just kind of worked around for you, didn't it?
It really did.
Yeah, just came full circle, right?
Yeah.
What would it do, Bo? What would it do?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, like I could really relate to Brendon during these story arcs, but you know, like I didn't have that his creative genius.
Yeah, and we also kind of even have some character arcs for some of the adults in this in this season as well. Like, for instance, a lot of the stuff that John McGurk tries to go through here, you know, like you can tell that he's really trying to find his footing just as a middle-aged adult man, you know. He's really kind of lost here a little bit.
I feel so bad for him at times that I don't want to feel bad for him. I don't know how to explain this, like, because he's such a like terrible person, like obviously a terrible person, but there's also just so many instances of him not like being able to navigate the world in a way that normal people do. Like, you kind of have to feel bad for him.
Yeah, and here we kind of start to get into a little bit of what made him who he is, like especially when it comes to his relationship with his mom, who shows up at the end of the episode where he's trying out stand-up comedy and just straight up saying, it's like, no, you're a bum, you're a loser. And so it's like we start to kind of understand McGurk a little bit, and he starts to become a little more like three-dimensional as a character.
Well, and that even culminates in him, you know, literally just like rejecting an opportunity in the final episode of this season. You know, like he has a very attractive woman that is interested in him. Or, I mean, we can presume she's attractive. I get the feeling she's attractive, but it's kind of hard to tell what the animation style.
Nothing in this show is attractive.
Yeah, the art style, of course, it has that childish quality, but, you know, of course, it's endearing as well.
I got the feeling she's meant to be attractive. I feel like she's sort of drawn that way.
I think she's definitely a little more attractive than Paula.
Yeah.
But compare her to Linda, though. You know, I think that, I mean, she's maybe just a little older than Linda, but kind of similar to her a little.
But Stephanie's all over him, and you know what's funny is McGurk, after all of this time, just he doesn't really know what to do with that.
No, he's just like, oh wow, I didn't expect this. It's a very much a dog catching the car type of scenario. He caught the car, now it's like, now what? You know?
Oh man.
Yeah, or like the coyote catching the roadrunner, right? Like
exactly. Yeah, he catches it, and then he's just like, well, what do I do now?
I think there is an episode where that happens.
No, yeah. There's an episode where it finally happens. Yeah, that I remember that one. But I mean, McGurk also he also finds out that his uncle is dead, and then he takes Brendon on like 2 different road trips in one episode,
and spends all his charity money in the process.
Yes.
I love that. I love that so much because another thing that's very relatable is just how easily, especially when you're a kid, you can blow through money like that and just not even know it.
Oh my
you
God.
Know?
Yeah.
My shithead friends, they got so much money out of me.
Yeah, definitely. It's like, but yeah, I mean, yeah, he pretty much just like what do? They go out to eat, they go to a movie, they like it starts by stopping by a gas station or whatever, and then it just kind of culminates in them going and watching a movie, and then he's just like, oh crap, I spent all the walkathon money.
Yeah, he blew all the money. It just sort of snowballs, you know, and
yeah, it just snowballs, and that's kind of relatable. You know, I think we've all done that at least once when we were younger.
When you were younger.
Yeah. What are you talking
Oh yeah, shit, even now. But that's a whole nother issue. That's adult issues. I'm talking like when you're a kid. You know?
Right, when you're a kid and, you know, you saved up your allowance or whatever and you just managed to make a few bucks. That doesn't always happen, right? You know, we've got reliable jobs now, so we know that, like, you know, you'll get money again. But when you're a kid, it's like, you know, when am I going to get a chance to have money again? It was...
Exactly.
Here's an instance of just McGurk being an asshole because he is gaslighting Brendon the whole time.
Yeah.
And just like convincing him through the subtlest of mean-spirited maneuvers to pay for stuff that Brendon doesn't have the money for on any level. Yeah, it's so frustrating. Like, it's funny. Like, you can't help but find a little bit of humor in it, but at the same time, like, the actuality of it is so terrible. Like,
But you know something? I can't hate McGurk for any of that because at the end of the day, I think he's more of a lovable oaf than a straight asshole. He's just kind of has his own way of navigating the world, and you know,
he's
like
endearing in a sense, and I might even go so far as to say is he might be my favorite character in this show, just because, you know, like I can't quite place my finger on it, but it's like somewhere between like good intentions but like not at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. You know,
it's probably easier for us to sympathize with McGurk too on a certain level. I mean, we probably look at him as like the dumbest parts of our id or something like that.
yeah, for the most part.
He hits every low, you know, like as a character, he is just every definition of loser that you could find. So maybe, you know, all of us have that one thing that we feel self-conscious about that we can identify with McGurk because he just hits every single low.
Exactly. He's very much the everyman character of the home movies. You know, mainly for the adults. You know, it's like Brendon is very much the everyman for the kids. You know. And he still kind of fulfills that perspective, you know?
Yeah. You were mentioning story arcs earlier, and I would say Paula also has her own story arc in this as she loses her job.
That's right. Yes. She loses her job. Hello, Paula. Paula,
are you here to take the test again?
I can't believe I was attracted to you.
I wanted to tell you that I was attracted to you. And it's like, yeah, so was I. And she's just like, okay, this is weird.
I've never even met you before.
All of that is so bad. Exactly. Like, oh my God.
But what's interesting about that is how him and her and her son are essentially kind of going through the same situation, sort of. They're just kind of being dressed down by weird authority figures that take their jobs way too fucking seriously. So, and it's just kind of, and they just kind of come together and they're just like, oh, I'm getting kicked out of here. It's like, oh yeah, I'm doing this. It's like, you want to go out for pizza tonight? Sure. So yeah, it's just one of those things that in life that can just kind of come up and, just kind of make things interesting, right?
I love Paula so much as a character because she's like super petty in subtle ways over her when her living situation shouldn't allow that on any level. Like the way she talks to her ex-husband when he comes over for dinner, he's doing markedly better than her on every level, and she is so spiteful.
She's going through a little bit of schadenfreude right there, a little bit, because she knows that he knows his relationship with Linda is a little off.
Yeah, I love her.
No, I'm not saying she looks at that like as a good relationship or something she envies.
Yeah. No, she's kind of reveling in it a little bit. Like, I mean, she's totally digging Andrew as much as she can.
It's funny. It's so goddamn funny. I mean, I know it's so mean, but God, it's funny.
No, I get Paula actually on a level. I'm going to take it back what I said about McGurk. I think Paula is actually my favorite character. I think as a single parent myself, I really identify with her because my parenting style honestly is pretty similar. Like my kid's 5, but I still talk to her like an equal. Like I'm very down to earth with her. In a way that's like, I'll just say some shit that like, I know like she's not going to know what every single word that I said means, but like, I know she's intelligent and she can use context to figure some things out. And I talk to her like I talk to anyone really. So I think maybe that's why I like Paula so much is her parenting style reminds me of my own, or to some degree, I kind of feel like my mom was that way with me too.
Yeah, honestly, I can kind of see that from what I've seen of you and your mom interacting. I can actually see that a lot. And also seeing you and your daughter interacting as well. Yeah.
Yeah, she was very down to earth with us, like it was just kind of a, like, yep, this is the way it is, kind of thing. Like just kind of, I mean, there were still moments of that, like, because I said so kind of thing. And like, I'm very different in that respect. Like I'm very much a like, I don't ever want to like put on that like authoritarian face and be like, because I said so, like I'd rather explain it to you if it's possible for me to explain it to you. So I don't know, like I get Paula like on a spiritual level. I feel like like the way she parents her dynamic with Brendon is just something that's very endearing to me.
Now juxtapose that with Melissa's dad, Eric, played by Jonathan Katz.
I love Eric.
Like good old Eric. Like he also kind of coalesces a little more as a character in this season, and like I mean I love his interactions with Paula and also with McGurk. They're just so classic here.
I think that guy's amazing. I mean, he found a needle in a haystack.
He did. He did. I mean, that is nearly superhuman right there.
What I love about Eric is he's very punchy. Like he's just constantly always has something that's like his jokes are honestly kind of clever. They're the kind of thing that you just chuckle at and you're not genuinely laughing, but you're chuckling because you're like, okay, yeah, that's clever.
Well, you just chalk that up to Jonathan Katz and the way that's how he's always operated as a comedian and everything. It's like that's just more or less his style, Like if you go all the way back to Dr. Katz, which of course this was a spinoff of, I mean, his character is in John Benjamin's character are kind of similar, but a little more understated, I would say, than here.
Yeah. And, it's this quality I think he kind of shares with Brendon in that, like, he always has a response. He always has a humorous way to reply to anything, and it's immediate. It's like it's a pretty funny joke, like on the spot.
I think he's a kind of a better dad in this one because, I love Dr. Katz, but there's definitely some times where he's a little too much of a therapist over being a father.
Yeah, no, I know.
Katz.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah. But I mean, yeah, his Eric's overall relationship with Melissa is also kind of shown a little bit here. It's like, and I always like their dynamic together, but we also start to see other sides of Jason as well in this in this season as well. We like, especially the more possessive and more ruthless side of Jason.
Jason captured my heart. Like, he's such an uncontrolled little gremlin. It was so irritating watching him just completely go off the rails.
Especially when he's at Fenton's party and he gets all hyped up on all the candy and soda. I was going to
mention that episode is so funny. Like, his subplot in that episode is just like the most hilarious thing to me.
It all comes out in the wash.
I know, right? He's just all covered
to
with
help him, and like
Melissa's like trying to intervene and everything. He even sends him off in a cab.
Yeah, so it's like that just like, yeah, that was one of the funnier bits in this season to me, was just this whole like Jason situation that's similar to like adults getting drunk and having a problem, and he has this problem with sweets at Fenton's birthday party, and they just take it to extremes. And I think that's kind of what I love about the humor in the show is it. I mean, everything fits within the realm of possibility, but you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yes, it's always been a very grounded type of series,
It's grounded,
very grounded.
But like, it kind of like stretches the limits of that. And I think that's why home movies is so endearing, is that, these all feel like real situations, and there are, I think there's something relatable. I mean, that's something I think we talked about in the previous episode was, when we were talking about season 1, was that, they take situations that happen to adults and provide like child analogs to them at various points in the series, so it's like the kid characters and the adult characters are usually going through similar struggles in an episode.
Yeah, they do really solid, like, groundbreaking work with Linda, because when you first meet her and you learn the few details about her that you do, it says so much about not only her place in the relationship with Brendon's dad, it says like everything about her character and how she feels about people and how she views them. When she says that they should hit the tiger with a rock to wake it up, that is such a harsh like slam out of nowhere that Brendon and his dad are both just like, yeah, let's just get out of here. Like,
I think that's the real crux of that whole situation with Linda and Brendon and Andrew, is that ultimately Brendon and Linda are both the type of people that are always on, they're always just kind of the kind of needy, they're very needy of attention. They're pretty much similar people when you really think about it. Just not, kind of in their motivations, more so than their personalities, I mean, I would say maybe Linda's a little more narcissistic than Brendon is, although Brendon is kind of a narcissist to a degree, but
I'm sure whatever volunteer work she doesn't even have half as much effort going into it as one of Brendon's films. Like,
let's be real here. It's like she's probably just doing like a lot of the busy work at the hospital as a volunteer.
Yeah. And what's interesting is that you guys mentioned earlier where, or Robbie, I think you mentioned it, where she says, well, why don't we just throw a rock at it? She says that immediately after letting them know her plans to volunteer at the zoo.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like, the shock, like Brendon and his dad share, is a real character moment there too, because it shows how afraid they are of like what might happen. And how afraid they are of what might happen if they stick around, and she keeps having that attitude.
But it's kind of a really telling moment for the whole situation between the three of them, right? You know, like it's extremely telling. You know, it especially when you start to see that, you know, Brendon and Andrew, their relationship is great. They're. I mean, he's actually he's a absent father, but when he's actually with Brendon, he's not bad with him.
No,
you know?
In fact, they kind of have this chemistry. They have similar styles of humor, you know, and the way that they talk to each other, they just sort of click right away. And you could tell he wants to be there, you know, like Andrew's a character I can identify with as a dad, because, you know, it's like, I can't be with my kid all the time because I live 3.5 hours away from her. And I only, you know, I come and visit once a month. And so like, you know, I'm always worried about being the absent dad. That's like the one thing like I don't want to be, you know, because, you know, I had periods of my life where my dad was absent. So like, I get it, you know, and it's like, it's taking these situations that are relatable to a lot of people and making a brand of humor off of that. Is circling back to Linda. You know, Linda's a caricature of a lot of traits that we've dealt with dealing with women.
True.
Oh,
you know, like I hate to stereotype, you know, but like they could be like that. Like any man that's been in a long-term relationship with a woman, like, you know what I mean? Like there are certain things that in general women tend to have certain reactions to, and it's just funny.
I will say, when I was younger, I used to like think about like that a lot more, but then I also kind of realized, like, no, I've got pretty much the same amount of little petty problems going on all the time too. I can't really be too hard on my exes for whatever time they took up, you know, or whatever.
I feel you there, man. I feel you there.
Yeah, you know, but like it's just funny because, you know, what you can do is you can take a lot of things that people can relate to and caricaturize it. You know, whenever you see like Linda, who's just a caricature of all these stereotypical traits that, you know, men complain about in women.
I'm sure there's a little bit of agency from the male writers going into that.
Definitely.
Probably.
Yeah.
There's some bias there. Like you know, like that's where that's going to leak through. At the very least, what they're taking are things that are popularized by culture, by media.
I really think the art style helps a lot, though. Like, God, if this were a more realistic looking cartoon, it might just have like icky, uncomfortable overtones to a little bit.
It wouldn't have the same impact if it didn't have the animation style that it has.
I mean, man, it really helps offset a lot of the darker elements. Like I was kind of realizing it earlier. Like,
Yeah, but also it's that step up in the animation quality in this season that also helps it. You know, like for instance, there's a lot more camera movement that they're able to do that they weren't able to do when they had the squiggle vision. And that's something that I noticed between these two seasons. So, I mean, because of that, they're able to kind of convey these characters in a more emotional sense in certain areas. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, on an animation level, I really want to point out how, like, since they're not doing squiggle vision anymore, you get a lot more movement from the characters. Now, with the way this cartoon is, there isn't a whole lot of movement, but compared to season 1, where you just had, like, characters that are squiggling around and sometimes pointing at each other a lot of the time, you actually see, like, a walk cycle here and there.
Exactly.
You get crowds, you know, like...
Yeah, I'm watching, I have an episode on in the background when I'm watching the Fittens birthday party episode, and there's a whole, as you guys are saying this, there's a whole, like, camera tilt, you know, like a cinematic angle. And I don't think we got a whole lot of that, if any, in season 1, or at least while they were doing the squiggle vision.
Yeah, and Another thing that's notable is that it kind of helps with the actual movies that they are doing. It helps those kind of pop a little better, which is interesting because in this season we start to see a little more of the movies that Brendon and Jason and Melissa actually work on, like to the point where we pretty much have the first full episode that's pretty much almost most all their movie rather than what's going on in the actual real world of home movies and everything. Like, and of course, I'm talking about History with the Starboy and Captain of Outer Space movie that shows up a couple of times before then, but here we actually get to see almost get to see the full movie in its full state. We're not just seeing bits and pieces of it. You get a full theme song by Dwayne and Scab. You get appearances by a bunch of new characters, which we will discuss here in a little bit. And it's really cool to actually see, an extended version of what Brendon and Jason and Melissa work on all the time, And it's actually pretty high. It's high concept stuff that they're doing there. It's like this really high concept sci-fi Super Sentai type of thing, I guess.
I also like to think of it as kind of a space serial, like a Flash Gordon thing.
Yeah, like Flash Gordon, or like if you know your Mystery Science Theater, Prince of Space, Space Chief, something like that. Yeah, and it's really cool to see that, but we also see some other interesting cold opens that start off with movies and that they're doing, like for instance the episode where they go to the hotel and everything, and McGurk is trying to get a job and everything.
What are you doing in the den?
Yeah, what are you doing in the den?
In the den?
It's like, yeah, Father, I'm right here, and then he says it again, in the den.
My boyfriend calls me Little Mama.
Oh yeah, that character, she's hilarious. She's hilarious, and she does come back in a later season as well. I think it's the Guitarmageddon's episode, but we'll save that for another time. But some of the other movies that they work on here, like they have that one. I guess it's a law procedural that they're doing that devolves into the whole jazz thing on the episode Hiatus.
That's what leads to the hiatus, and that whole episode really hit me hard. Like I always fear when I go on hiatus on anything. It's just it's a path downward into failure.
If you're in any type of creative, if you've done a podcast or something like that, it's like, sometimes downtime can ruin your momentum a little bit.
It really can, man. You can apply that to a lot of things. Creative endeavors, along with you guys as well. I can relate to that, but also, just like with working out and stuff, like you step off for a little while, you take a break, and it's so hard to get going again.
Exactly. Yeah.
The little moment where they all kind of are trying to get each other to feed each other compliments is very relatable and funny if you're part of a creative group.
Yeah, exactly. Just fishing for compliments for their work and everything.
I'm such a bad co-host. I always have bad ideas, don't I, Bo?
Oh, all the time. Yeah, so many bad ideas. No.
It was a bad idea for me to do this podcast, honestly. I love you guys, so I'm sorry.
Damn it. No. We're good.
Yo. B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P. I said Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z. And alphabet. Boo, doodle, listen. Alphabet. Song. Alphabet.
But yeah, let's go ahead and talk about some of these newer characters, and even talk about what characters kind of had a little bit of a breakout this season. Like the newer characters introduced in this season, they pretty much become stalwarts of the show, like for the rest of the series. You know, first off, you have, of course, the great Fenton Muley, voiced by the legendary Sam Cedar of Majority Report fame. It's like he is just everybody's every class has a kid like him, right?
Fuck Fenton.
Yeah.
Fuck Fenton. Yeah, Fenton. Yeah, kill Fenton. Kill Fenton.
I like when his mom at the end is just like, at the end of that episode is just like go to your room. It's his fucking birthday, and she's
on his birthday, he's like, go to your room, Fenton. It's like, oh, but he's such a little shit, though. He really is.
I felt so conflicted hearing McGurk yell at him, even though, like, it's kind of hard, like, to not look at him as an unlikable kid. But, you know, just that moment where he has an authority figure that he actually, like is slightly perturbed by. Like, it almost feels like an earned character moment because he's just been so terrible to everyone around.
Yeah, no, he needed that. He needed somebody to step up and just say, "Now listen here, you little shit. You shut the fuck up, or I'm fucking yeeting you into the sun, motherfucker."
Do you have a lot of practice talking to children this way, buddy?
No, I don't have any kids. I have nieces and nephews, but I wouldn't dare talk to them like that. No. But I mean, I kind of feel him there. I mean, I think it was more for Fenton's mom, Truly.
Yeah, because like
it's Truly Muley.
She's taking all this brunt, like, and she's doing so much to make anything work and be, you know, something that would be good for her son. Like, and
she's trying. She's trying so hard.
I really have a hard time being angry at Fenton on a level because I think, like, the kid just maybe thinks a little different than other people. Maybe he has a hard time controlling his emotions. I'm not saying it lets him off the hook all the time, but, you know, people have different conditions.
In season 3, we kind of come to understand why Fenton is the way he is. And honestly, his mom doesn't help at all. She is a little bit of an enabler.
No, definitely an enabler. I was about to say that.
Yes.
She kind of lets him get away with what he wants. And that's, you know, why when Coach McGurk steps in, you know, she kind of... It's actually one of the few things he's done that actually had a positive outcome, really, because it's like she actually stood her ground, you know, and was able to parent, you know, because, Fenton's just a little shit. So I'm unlike you, Robbie. I don't have any level of sympathy for this kid. I'm just kidding.
What do y'all think of Sam Cedar's performance as Fenton?
Oh man, he's just a perfect little mean-spirited bastard. Like, every word he says is so high-pitched. It's so like incredibly searing.
It's very telling that all they need to do is just show a video of his actual behavior.
Right?
And it creates
I mean, no embellishment whatsoever. That's all that, like Brendon was having so much trouble, like, making him look good for this video that he just originally just said, fuck it. I can't do it. Fuck it.
Yeah.
You know?
It's kind of like, you know, like when like Trump would say just something just completely inane and it needed absolutely no context. Like, you could just show the clip and it was
exactly. Exactly. And you know, the funny thing is that if you know Sam Cedar, it's like, I mean, he perfectly encapsulates that, you know, little shit quality. But if you actually watch him on YouTube on his podcast, I mean, he's more of a political commentator. He's actually very subdued, like, still very funny, but he's actually very astute and very almost like professorial a little bit. You know, when he's speaking about, like, political matters and whatnot. But and then like, you see his character here, and also his character on Bob's Burgers. He plays the health inspector. I forget his name.
Yeah. That guy's so great. I love him every time he comes on.
He's perfect, man. And Sam Cedar is great in that role as well. But moving along, another couple of characters that became very well beloved in this that was introduced in this season is, of course, Walter and Perry. We see them very briefly in season 1, but here I'm going to say that I think that these two are the breakout characters of this season.
Yeah.
Like total breakout characters, because I mean, their whole shtick, this is Brendon Small and John Benjamin. Pretty much what their thing is that they would literally switch characters. Like both they've played both Walter and Perry at various times. They will straight up switch.
I want to go to the bathroom, Perry. Oh, Walter, can I go to the bathroom with you, Walter? Yeah. You can go to the bathroom with me, Perry. I love you, Walter. Can we get married and live together forever?
It's such a funny bit, and it doesn't bother me at all that they just recycled that for Bob's Burgers. Like, it's so funny. Like, the two kids in Bob's Burgers that do the same thing.
Jimmy Pesto's twins.
Man. Yeah, God, they're so funny. It's such a funny little, like, dynamic. Like, it never gets old.
You know what? I hope that they stay together, like, the rest of their lives and become married one day and have just this, like, lovely little relationship that never changes.
Isn't it interesting that we pretty much get some queer representation early on here with Walter and Perry? Yeah. Like, I mean, they're never explicitly like judged harshly for it. It's actually they're actually kind of sweet together.
Well, it's
a little annoying.
It's very progressive in a sense because it's so innocent. It's a portrayal of something that just happens, and this is back in the early 2000s, right? So it's like.
I would say, mid to late 2000s. I would say early to mid, maybe.
There's that moment when Paula is chaperoning, and the teacher explains to her that the list is the list of kids she has to keep an eye on. And then she wonders why those two aren't on there, and it's because they never run away.
Yeah. No, they never do.
Such perfect, good little boys.
Allegedly.
And during the hiatus episode, Jason briefly joins their little circle.
Oh, yeah.
But
he tires of that very quickly. By the end of the episode, he's like, enough! But yeah, I mean, Walter and Perry, they are definitely the breakout characters of this season. They pretty much endeared themselves to the fans of this show like almost immediately. Like as soon as they became a thing, they became like well beloved. And another much beloved character are the Adelbergs, Ken and Junior Adelberg.
Oh, yeah.
Who are they talk in that very distinctive talking like this. Like I guess they're Italian, maybe.
I don't know how to feel about them. I don't know like if they're targeting a specific like ethnic identity or if they're I don't know if it's Italian or if it's.
It feels very indeterminate, very distinctive but non-distinct at the same time. Like they could be Italian, they could be Greek, they could be Spanish.
I think it's meant to be vague, and like the nature of these characters is that they just pop up everywhere where you don't expect them.
Exactly.
Like running the Big Brother program, being a student in Paula's class.
Yeah,
exactly.
This stuff didn't necessarily age for me as well as some other things, but I will say it's not like mean in the way other shows would have been about this type of borderline xenophobic caricature.
It's not mean-spirited.
Well, there is an episode in the next season where Brendon gets in trouble making fun of Adelberg's accent. So that leads to some interesting things.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Junior also just like crops up in one of their movies.
Yeah, he's the Mermaid Queen.
In history, yeah.
Yeah, McGurk and the dad, like, kind of becoming friends over a phone call is also a sweet, funny moment.
Yeah, that's right. He's like, hey, I like you. It's like, I like you too, man. And it's like, yeah, I mean, sometimes, yeah, you just meet somebody who's cool, right? You know?
Even though you gave cigarettes to this kid.
Oh, yeah, well screw that kid.
And then, like, he just, like, went missing. He's like, at first, like, the beginning of the conversation, he's like, oh, you make a lot of trouble for us. But then he's like, I like you. Oh, and I like how he just immediately, like, gets him a new kid. Like,
yeah, just immediately. And I love that Jason is in the fucking book of kids.
Yes. It's a blink and you miss moment. You're, like, turning through the pages of their fucking Jason.
Well, it's kind of a little bit of a, I would say it's actually a little bit of an in-joke. John McGurk's voice actor, of course, the great John Benjamin, the awesome, legendary John Benjamin.
I love everything he does.
He has a thing against having two of his own characters interact with each other. It's why you'll even when Jason and McGurk are in the same scene, they don't really interact with each other.
Yeah,
you know, which is crazy because there is. I think it's the season finale of season 3 where they are in a scene, but they don't interact still. So
well, it makes sense because like Jason's not even on the soccer team.
No, he's not. Which is interesting. We never see him in the soccer team. We never even see him at. We do see him at Brendon and Melissa's school. So I mean, he does go there. You know, I mean, he goes to the school there, but we never see him in any of their classes. We never see him interacting on the soccer field or anything. So, yeah.
I just autistically remembered something, and I have to bring it up. Shannon, did they just retcon him into coming to their school now?
I think so. Yeah, because originally they were from the other school.
Shannon was from the other school, right? And
yeah,
then,
he was.
And then in the first episode of the season, he's just like there at his school with no explanation.
Oh man, and he's great in that episode. I love it. I love that he knows more about politics than anybody in that entire school. He understands it.
Shannon.
He understands politics.
Shannon, what are you doing in the hallway? What are you doing in the hallway? No, I asked you, what are you doing in the hallway? What are you doing in the hallway? No, what are you doing in the hallway?
And then it's like they all know that he took those CDs. You know, he's just like, oh, I love old Blue Eyes.
Oh man, that's such a great little bit of character joking. Like, damn.
Seriously, and I love that during that one little the montage where he's doing all the crimes. There's this one moment where he takes he steals a computer and he just goes and sells it to some shady back alley dealer. It's like goddamn, Shannon's running the underground market in this town, dude. It's like he's running the black market. Like, what the fuck?
I'm just a thug. It's what I do.
It's like you don't break into cars, I do. It's like I don't make movies, you do.
So like how would you break into a car, Shannon? Oh, just like how I usually do it. Bust the window.
But of course he's ahead of them like 100% though.
But I like how at the end, like they even like they acknowledged that he actually didn't do anything to influence the ballot, and he didn't do anything, under Brendon, so to speak. He's just a thug. That's what he does.
All he did was just exert his influence over Brendon, and Brendon acquiesced. So it's like, politics, man. It's politics.
Yeah, that actually was pretty funny because like Brendon has at this point resigned his presidency for essentially no reason.
Yeah, exactly.
Other than Mr. Lynch blackmailing him.
Yeah, and even Mr. Lynch was fooled, of course, because Shannon didn't do anything. It's like, well, shit.
Speaking of Mr. Lynch, I feel like we explore his character in a few more interesting directions in this season as well. We have the episode where him and McGurk are going to go to Cancun together, and Mr. Lynch insists that McGurk learn Spanish.
Oh, that's hilarious. Like, he's actually being kind of pragmatic about it because, you don't want to be lost in a foreign nation without some way of communicating with the local populace, you know?
But then when it comes down to it,
At least in a basic conversational level, you know? But the irony there is, of course, Lynch gets all drunk and, you know, he can't even interact with anybody.
yeah.
And of course, McGurk is frustrated. It's like Lynch, we need to get to our hotel, you know? But yeah, no, that was a lot of fun. But one more new character that I want to bring up is that's also really, really hilarious here is Mr. Arnold Lindenson. Oh, Mr. Lindenson and his interactions with Paula is so fantastic. He is so great.
Don't make this about you and the firing, okay? This is affecting everybody, Paula.
He just has a way with people that I just almost would love to sit down and just talk with him and just be like, how do you deal with people, man? How do you deal with people?
How in the hell did he become the principal of a public school of some sort?
It isn't
like college, a low rent college, you know? Sorry,
because he's Lindenson, man. I mean, just look at him. I mean, that's the only way that you can really explain that. It's just he's Lindenson.
His very first scene that we see him in, and he just gets into this accident because he gets his hand stuck in the door.
That was so funny. It's like, keys in car. Oh no. And no, it's just a comedy of errors that just ends with him. And the way that he treats Paula there is just like,
Paula.
I mean, you know, it's like, you know, that he is in pain and he's not, maybe in some way he's not really meaning to be that way, but he just is.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, watching his lips move is just never-endingly funny. The way they draw him, it reminds me of Ike on South Park, but in a way different context, and it just looks so strange.
Oh, it's great, man. He's awesome, and then just the fact that he randomly ends up at Linda and Andrew's wedding. And everything, and then fucking officiates the wedding at the end.
Officiates the wedding.
I love how easy it was for Brendon to get a right out of him, and they actually acknowledge it.
Yeah, right. And I love the whole thing where he's always just calling Brendon a little girl. He's just like, hello, little girl. How are you doing?
Paula, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. Paula, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do.
I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do, and then I'm probably not going to do it.
Hey, say what you want about the man, but he brought her, not completely eaten leftover meal, to soothe her pain. God, could you imagine?
It was hospital food.
Oh, God.
Do you like Italian?
Yeah. He doesn't even know what it actually is, but he just couldn't finish it, God.
And he's trying to be something of a good person there, He's trying. It's like, oh my God, he just has an energy about him that, I mean, once you see what he's about, you're just fascinated by him, He's
fascinating because we even get kind of like a question about how he is in real life. We see Brendon's portrayal of him just based on the name alone, and we see the actual Lindenson.
Yeah, that's hilarious in its own right,
It's hard to put a finger on what it is about Lindenson. He's just a character.
He is, and his voice actor plays him so perfectly. I don't remember his name. But he's so on point as Lindenson. So on point.
I really want to point out how cool the music Dwayne and his band make
Yeah.
is like
Yeah.
they really encapsulate what a home recorded like teen rock band sound like. And I think especially for that time and the people who are making this, I think that is like probably the bands that they had growing up.
We talked about Dwayne in the last episode. He's one of the breakout characters of this series. Like,
Yeah, he is.
he's just the total dude, bro.
This is important to me.
This is important to me, bro.
By the way, it's Andy Kindler. I looked it up. Mr. Lindenson's voice actor.
Oh, I thought it was Andy Kindler. I was gonna say his name, dude. I thought that was him.
Yeah.
You know, because Kindler is great like that, honestly. But yeah, man. I mean, I was actually a teenage musician myself, and yeah, honestly, a lot of that, like especially that behind the music thing that they did. It's like, yeah, that's kind of how it is being a teenage musician trying to play in a band, you know?
Out of your parents' garage, like...
garage or basement.
And they won Battle of the Bands. They won.
Yep, they won Battle of the Bands.
Even after they had to turn down, like, man, you think I would have killed the band?
They had to turn their volume down to a comfortable level.
Yeah, I'm going to come out in argument for them. I mean, they have a drum kit. They probably have to play louder.
Yeah, I mean, you can get mufflers for drums to make them quieter, but I mean that's beside the point. They're scab, man. You don't tell scab to turn their music down.
But if we get mufflers, it won't sound like it will on stage.
No, I love that scene where they're trying to score music for Brendon's movie, Starboy and the Captain of Outer Space, and they're trying to give him notes and everything.
Yes, they talk him into changing the script because they say it's going to be like such a like big payoff, such a big surprise,
and then he does it. He does it.
Film it and they go through it and they're just like, no, maybe it'd be better if you did this.
Yeah, but what's great is that he still makes Captain of Outer Space Starboy's brother in the actual in the history episode. So it actually stuck. That's what's hilarious about that.
Yeah, because I like how Brendon's like, principal photography is finised. The movie is already complete.
Yeah,
it's already complete. We're just scoring here, guys. It's like I can't change it'll be reshoots.
But at that point, it's like because as Brendon likes to say, like the actors are probably busy doing other stuff, but they're not. So at the end of the day, it amounts to an extra reshoot that establishes an additional fact that ends up making its way into a future movie. So
I love it. I absolutely love it every time Brendon mentions the budget. Because, like, how could he have any money whatsoever to do anything, like, at all? Like, what budget could he have?
What budget are we talking about here?
Well, we saw what he had to go through in season 1 for the Fish Islands, right?
No, that's true. Yeah, he just had to ask his mom for it. At first, at least. But... honestly, that's another thing that I really love about just this show in general is just how it portrays the creative process, you know? Like, I mean, especially the whole collaboration, like, between Brendon and Dwayne, like it's like instead of the of what we got in director's cut in the first that episode in the first season where with the Kafka rock opera, it's like here it's like Brendon is actually really collaborating with Dwayne a little more. Like, I mean, it's actually a true collaboration here, and it's pretty accurate, honestly. I mean, it actually kind of shows what goes into creating something like a movie or a play or whatever,
I mean, as we've kind of been behind the scenes of the production of an indie film ourselves, we can relate to you and me, Bo.
Mm-hmm, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, that's why I kind of wish we had Robert here, because he kind of has that perspective as like he's like the main filmmaker of the group.
God damn it! Where is Robert?
Where is Robert? Robert, where are you, man? God damn it!
He's like our Jason.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and get into our final thoughts here. Robbie, what are your final thoughts?
I think it's held up pretty well. I remember watching it as a younger guy and having a lot of like frustrations with it because it was so slow. But now that I'm an older man, like I really feel like it pays off well. It has good character interactions. I just think if you can go along with the art style of it and that's not a problem for you, then it really has good writing payoffs. If you're into Bob's Burgers or any of that stuff, it has the same kind of payoffs from the same kind of people working on it.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, Loren Bouchard, he was the co-creator of this series. So,
can I say one little thing? The stuff with Brendon and his dad does work. I really felt weird, though, thinking that Louis C.K. is in this role because it keeps reminding me of how, propped up he was in the, industry, I didn't even realize, because when I was younger and watching Adult Swim, I didn't realize he was the one in that one advert they have. I didn't realize he was doing these other things here and there in Adult Swim. And now it almost feels like I've been primed to accept Louis C.K. when I was a younger man around 2010 or 2011. I'm glad I kind of got out of that when I did, because he just wasn't giving payoff. But now it's weird to have all this subtext with it, and it feels so odd. I really want to think that all these people have the best intentions. You know what I'm saying? I don't think they had any real genuine idea that anything was terrible. He presented himself as a down-to-earth guy, and part of his personality was being a dad. Part of what made him the world's biggest comedian for a time was being a dad, and it's been so frustrating watching him not take seriously any of the actions he's gone into, and his comedy has regressed into self-congratulatory anti-woke horse shit, and it pisses me off so much. He has played so many characters that learn good lessons, important lessons, but I've just been seeing for the past few years that he hasn't learned any lessons, and he just rubs his privilege in whatever person's face he can. It's such a frustrating thing. I mean, I didn't want to let it weigh down the episode too much, but I did kind of think maybe it needed to be talked about just a little bit. If it's a problem out there for anyone who watches this in the future,
no, I get you.
For the record, and I think we said this on the season 1 episode 2, but fuck Louis C.K.
fuck Louis C.K.
But they've managed to weave this character into the writing that presents a relatable scenario to us that's that works, and I like the dynamic that we get between these two characters, so we can admire the writing of the character and separate that from the voice, and
at least the animation kind of separates you from him a little bit too.
Definitely.
So that's about all I really have to get off my chest. I couldn't be happier with it really as a season on a whole. Some of this Adult Swim stuff hasn't been holding up the test of time. There's a lot of bad Robot Chicken. There's a lot of there's a lot of kind of half and half stuff on some other things, but this was all pretty solid, and it was low key while still being adult and having interesting themes. I'd recommend it. Yeah, it's good
and progressive in a lot of ways too.
It's pretty progressive. I mean, the things you could take as anti-progressive humor are so low key and generally so kind of silly and not mean-spirited, that you can distance yourself from whatever, maybe slightly uncomfortable accent might be happening or something like that.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely. Right on.
Yeah, I think I'm being fair there. I mean, let's face it, her boss, he has like what some people might consider a Jewish caricature voice, like it's taken the wrong way.
It's funny though, because I didn't even make that connection. So.
Oh, you didn't? Oh, I was thinking like Jerry Lewis, like a really heightened Jerry Lewis at times.
I can see it now. Yeah, now that you mention it, but
yeah. Well, anyway, Ash, what are your final thoughts?
Well, before I get into that, Bo, I just want to tell you your podcast voice is fantastic. You sound really good, and you're really professional. And could you send me $5?
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's the power of suggestion through manipulation by complimenting you.
I'm glad you asked about that thing, because what I like to do is sing. No, that's not going to work on me, Ash.
Damn it. So it's okay. I make a lot more than you anyway. Oh, no. Home Movies Season 2 is a step up from Season 1 in terms of quality, in terms of the animation style, in terms of the storytelling, in terms of the character development. Again, it's just really hammering in this brand of humor focused on relatable situations, and it's so down to earth. There's a level of continuity. When we compare this with the style of humor that we see in a lot of other Adult Swim shows, I think it kind of sets itself apart in that sense. That there is continuity, that there is grounding, and Home Movies is just so infinitely rewatchable, and I want to add again that it these little episodes that are like 30 minutes with commercials,
Yep.
At least back when they were broadcast, right? Are nice because you can kind of consume these in little sections. It's good too. I want to mention this once more. I said this in the season 1 episode, but like if you're working out, you can kind of do sets between episodes or between like the mid rolls and whatnot, and it's cool. Media like this, I think has an edge to the way that you can consume it, and it works for these stories as well. And you can tell overarching stories, something that season 2 I think delves into a little bit deeper than season 1, but have these contained standalone episodes. So Home Movies 2 delivers more of what season 1 did so well, but maybe even a little bit better, arguably.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, I concur with both of y'all. I don't really think that I have much more to add. I mean, also, we're kind of running out of time and everything. But yeah, I mean, this is pretty much the season that really endeared Home Movies to me. I love the new characters. I love the overarching storylines. This is the season that you show new people when it comes to home movies. So yeah.
Hell yeah.
We didn't even talk about Eddie. I just saw Eddie on my screen.
Oh, Eddie. Yeah. He's in Arizona. He's like living like a lizard in the desert. But yeah, man, this is a much beloved show for me, and this season is one of my favorites. Definitely watch it. So yeah. All right, really quickly, Robbie, where can our listeners find your show?
You can find me on Twitter. I have a Discord as well. I'm going to be putting out a new album with Jesus on the Moon, so please look for that. Thank you for having me, gentlemen.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, we're glad to have you. And Ash, what's going on with Collateral Gaming, and where can we find?
Well, thank you for asking, Bo. On Collateral Gaming, we will be getting out our episode on the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles Part 2, focusing on the second game of that duology, the Great Ace Attorney Resolve 2. As of the time of this recording, I think we're scheduled to record that tomorrow night. So we'll have that out this week, probably actually before this episode actually drops. So that should be out
Awesome.
now if you're listening. And after that, we'll be wrapping the season up with James Bond 007 Nightfire. I was playing that just right before recording. I'm having a blast with it. And hopefully Zach and I can play some multiplayer on the Dolphin emulator, if that's possible.
Hell yeah.
And then we'll be opening up next season with a two-part episode on Doom 1993 and Doom 2016. So we've pushed Doom as our season finale of season 6 to our season premiere of season 7. And now we're going to be talking about the original as well as the reboot.
Hell yeah.
So,
Yeah, and I think I'm going to at least be on there to talk about the original, because I do have a little bit of a history with that game.
Yeah.
You know, so
maybe you should. The reboot is on PS4, so maybe you should check that out as well and join us for that episode.
yeah, you're right. I probably should. Yeah.
So that'll be cool. It'll be my first experience really diving deep into both of those games. I've played a little bit of both now, and they're pretty fun. So it'll be cool actually getting to explore those and compare the differences and whatnot. So stay tuned for that. We'll have maybe a bonus round or something, or there is a possibility of at least 1 or 2 game launch episodes. But if we can get it out this month or whenever. So with Collateral Cinema, we should have out our Meekiversary special, right, Bo?
Yes. Right now we have our Deadpool and Wolverine at the movies review, so go check that out. And by the time
this drops, I think I'll have the Meekiversary out first, to be honest.
Yeah. So we'll have our Meekiversary episode. That's Happiness of the Katakuris, which was a very interesting movie to get into. So yeah, look for that very soon. And also look for our season premiere coming very soon. We are going to be talking about both of the Terrifier movies. I decided we may as well just go ahead and talk about both Terrifiers 1 and 2, right?
Yeah, fuck it.
Especially since Terrifier 3 is coming out this October.
Also, I represented both Collateral Cinema and Collateral Gaming today, recording with The Vern from Cinema Recall. We talked about Borderlands and a little bit on video game movie adaptations in general.
Oof. Oh, Borderlands. Man, should we review that? What do you think?
I think it's a good opportunity for a collab, and if we get all this other shit out released and we have time, I'd love to talk about it with you guys. What I will say for now is it's not a movie that's bad in an interesting way, but I still feel like it's worth talking about that. It's worth talking about just general incompetence that's bland and tropey, and, you know...
Yeah.
We don't always
Definitely.
get spoiled by so bad it's good movies.
Yeah, I know, right?
So
Exactly.
go check out Cinema Recall. The Vern has been on our show before, so it was cool repping, both podcasts in a sense there, and getting to talk about that movie with our friend the Vern.
Yeah, and I was on an episode with the Vern and Kaylee from Once Over with Kaylee, talking about Yorgos Lanthimos' Dogtooth. So if you go look on his for his Yahoo for Yorgos series, you'll see that episode there. So yeah, we've collaborated with Cinema Recall quite a few times. I believe that we're running we have his promo, and we're running that now in circulation. So yeah, much love to Vern and Cinema Recall, man. He's been nothing but good to us.
Hell yeah, man. Yeah, and it was a good episode. I had a blast talking with him about even a shitty movie. So yeah, go check that out. That should actually probably be out by the time this releases. You can also find us on Patreon and get access to exclusive full-length commentaries, and also check out our merch store on TeePublic, where we have everything from t-shirts to hats, coasters, tapestries, get you some Collateral Media swag, and help support the show.
Man, I really want to. I don't know if maybe we might need to collaborate with T Public themselves on this. I want to get us a T-shirt design that has kind of like a black metal logo design for Collateral Cinema. I think that'd be pretty cool.
That would be dope.
Or even like a college varsity style as well. That'd be cool as well. So yeah, we should be collaborating on some new T-shirt designs here pretty soon. So look for those. And yeah, our T Public affiliate link should be in the show notes.
Fuck yeah. So you can check out Collateral Cinema and Collateral Gaming wherever you get your podcasts. And make sure to check out Conversations with Robbie Sherman as well, and go show him some love.
Yeah, he had to go a few minutes ago. So yeah, thank you, Robbie. We had a lot of fun talking with you about Home Movie Season 2, and we definitely look forward with working with you again. So I guess that's pretty much it. So on behalf of Conversations with Robbie Sherman, I'm also Bo Maddox.
And I'm Ashley Chancellor.
And this was Collateral Cinema. And I don't know, what's a good quote to go out on? Damn it, I tried to think of something from this. Yeah, just throw a rock at a tiger or something. I don't know. Laters, y'all. Collateral Cinema is a Collateral Media podcast. All music and movie clips are owned by the respective creators and are used for educational purposes only. Please don't sue us. We're poor.